Hey everybody, this is Chef Ashley Shep, and I figured I could do a really quick cooking and kicking it with Chef Ashley Shep as I'm making dinner for tonight. And so I'm going to show you what we're having. We're going to do a Cajun skillet with garlic, roasted chicken sausage, and shrimp. So let me show you what we're working with. As you are coming on in, definitely let me know what you are having for dinner tonight, even if it's takeout, leftovers, whatever. So let me show you what we're eating. We have, so we got some oregano, garlic powder, fire roasted salsa, diced tomatoes. If you don't have these, you can use regular tomatoes. This is just gonna add some more flavor. Tomato sauce, onion powder, onion, bell pepper, some bay leaves. And then this is the chicken sausage that I'm gonna be using. You can use any kind of sausage you want. It didn't even have to be sausage. It could be sausage if you're vegan. Whatever you'd like to do is fine. And then just some shrimp, which are chilling out in the sink for a bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and stick this. And excuse my head in the way. Stick that there. There we go. So you guys can kind of check out while I prep. And for those that are wondering, baby's not here yet. I still have 3 weeks. So this is actually going to be one of the meals that I prep for a make-ahead meal as well. So that way, when he does get here, I'll be able to just pull it out of the freezer, toss it in a pan, and we'll be good to go. So what I'm going to do first is chop on my veggies. Let's see, sorry, the bump is taking over the screen. Oh, oops. Also, left out an ingredient, my bad. This is Cajun seasoning. This is a blend that I made. You are more than welcome to get store-bought. It's whatever you'd like to do. But we're gonna use, normally I do about 2 tablespoons of this, but because I have the fire roasted tomatoes, I don't necessarily need to do a ton of this. So it's up to you. My husband doesn't like super spicy things, so I try not to make them terribly spicy for him. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and prep our veggies. So I got my bell pepper. I don't like any of these. Sorry. Okay. So I normally will do them into quarters or into trios just because I like bigger chunks of bell peppers. If you like them to be smaller, that's perfectly fine. Not a problem. And this is another one of the things, like my husband doesn't really eat bell peppers or onions, but I still cook with them because I like them. So he'll normally just pick them out or eat around them. And so if you are tuning in, we're making a Cajun skillet tonight. And this is Chef Ashley Shep. So let me see if I can turn the comments on so I can see what y'all are saying. Maybe they'll pop up. All right, so as you're tuning in, I can't see who you are, so please write a comment below and let me know who you are, what you're having for dinner. So I'm just roughly chopping these up. I have a skillet over here that I'm gonna go ahead and add all my ingredients, or not add all of them. I'm gonna add my ingredients to it as they are done. I'm gonna start with a little bit of olive oil in my pan. And once things get going, I'll put it so you can see what's in the pan. And then I'm gonna chop my onion. And I should have actually chopped my onion first because this is gonna take a little bit longer to cook, but because it's in a sauce, I'll be able to, it'll kind of reduce a little bit there. So, and just like you see if you watch any of the cooking shows, it's always a good idea to have like a little bucket or a bowl right next to you to just throw away all your trash. It's not just something people do to be fancy, but it actually helps with making a bunch of trips to the trash can. So normally I'll just use an extra like grocery shopping bag that I have, but tonight I'm just using a plastic bowl. And I just cut my nails, so this is hard to do. So let me just do this. And you could use a whole onion. I'm gonna use a half an onion. Like I said, my husband doesn't really like onions, but I cook with them all the time. So don't tell him. All right, so I see we have Trevin. Hey Trevin, thanks for tuning in. I'm not sure why I can't see anybody else. So definitely let me know what you're having for dinner and who you are and where you're joining us from. I'm just roughly chopping this. And I'm gonna put, you're not cooking for real unless something ends up on the floor. So I dropped an onion. But I'm gonna go ahead and add my onions and bell peppers to my pan. And I just put it over medium-high heat. And then my next step is I'm gonna add my sausage into it because it's gonna take a little bit longer. Well, not really take a little bit longer because it actually is already cooked. So this is just to kind of get a little bit of a nice, not crust to it, but to get it a little bit, I can't think of the word. But to make it so it's not as like super mushy. So I'm gonna rinse that off. And I'm gonna chop that. And once again, this is the sausage that I get at Hillshire Farms. You don't have to use this kind. You can use any kind that you'd like. I like this because it's chicken sausage instead of pork sausage, and it's got roasted garlic in it. So that's always nice. When I chop this, I'm gonna make sure I chop it so that it's gonna cook evenly. So I'm gonna cut that part off. And then you can either do like half circles, or you could cut it in half and then cut that in half. So like half moons, which is what I'm gonna do because that's gonna make it cook faster. And they don't have to be perfect. And then once this is kind of cooks down a little bit, I'm gonna add my shrimp in because shrimp really doesn't take that long to cook. And you also don't want to overcook it, so. And for the shrimp, you can either use frozen shrimp, which is what I used today because they had it on sale at Kroger. So if you have a Kroger near you or a Kroger family of stores, the large shrimp is on sale for about $5 a bag for about 10 ounces. And then the medium shrimp is only about $4. So this is a good time to stock up, which is something that will really help when you're doing make-ahead meals, because when you are buying things at the cheapest price, then that's going to help you save money. And since you're going to be freezing these things, I won't be freezing this, but I'll make another version to freeze. Since you'll be freezing make-ahead meals, you can kind of preserve the freshness of it, and you won't have to worry about, oh, I have a taste for shrimp this week, but shrimp is not on sale. So that's another strategy and tip. And I'm going to turn my stove up just a little bit. So I'm chopping up sausage. If you're just now tuning in, let me know what you're having for dinner tonight. We're making a Cajun skillet with roasted garlic chicken sausage and shrimp. Okay. Alright, so my sausage is good to go. Let me get a spatula for the onions and peppers. Let me see if I can kind of tilt you just a smidge so you can see what's going on there. Okay. And while this is kind of warming up, one thing you can do is open up all of your sauces and ingredients. That's going to help you save time. Sorry. That's going to help you save time when it's time to just dump it in the pan. I know a lot of times when I'm cooking, a recipe will call for multiple things back to back. And if you have it on hand and you're ready to go, then that will save you time doing that. So I'm going to open up my tomato sauce. And then another tip is to season as you go along. So I'm actually going to add some onion powder and garlic powder to my onions and peppers. And that's going to help build a little bit of the flavor. And that's a tip in general, actually. I know a lot of people, they are like, oh, I don't like veggies, or my kids don't like veggies. Part of it is because a lot of times people don't season their veggies as if they are a normal food, which they are. Just like you would your meats or your seafoods, things like that. You still need to season your vegetables. It's going to make a difference in how they taste, and it's going to encourage you to want to eat them more often as well. Having a little party foul. Alright, so while we're doing that, I'm going to go drain my shrimp real quick. Hey, thanks for tuning in, Alicia. We're making Cajun skillet with chicken, sausage, and shrimp. And so while that's warming up, oh, you know what? Let me tell you, I just realized that no wonder my onions and peppers are not cooking. It's because I have the wrong aisle on. So let me make that switch. I'm like, what is the deal? Okay, blame pregnancy brain, but honestly, that's definitely happened before, and I'm sure it's happened to you too. So okay, no wonder why things are not going. I'm like, what's taking so long? Okay, so far in the pan, I have, if you're just tuning in, let's see if I can tilt this way. So I have a bell pepper, a yellow onion, half of a yellow onion. You could do a whole one. I'm doing half because my hubby doesn't like onions. And we're doing a Cajun skillet, so we have some shrimp that was in the sink, just defrosting a little bit. And then I have some roasted garlic chicken sausage. You can use any kind of sausage you like, or you could leave it out entirely if you just are not a sausage fan. If you're vegan, you can use soy sausage. If you just want to go with pork sausage, that's fine too. Alright, now we're actually cooking since my stuff is turned on. So I'm going to get it. For this one, I'm going to use a spoon just because since it's going to have a sauce to it, I want to be able to get that sauce up when it's time for me to add my other ingredients. Normally, if I'm cooking meat or chicken, I like to use tongs because it gives you more control when you are turning or flipping, and then it also is going to help keep those juices in as opposed to using like a larger fork or something like that. So, because if you pierce the meat, then the juices are gonna run out and your flavor's gonna run out as well. Okay, so now we're actually cooking. So I was opening up my ingredients. If you're just tuning in, let me know what you are having for dinner tonight. Even if you didn't make it, no shame, no shade. Okay, I'm also gonna go ahead and season my shrimp. This step is optional. You can either season it once it's in the pan with the other ingredients, or you can do it ahead of time. And I'm going to do it ahead of time. I have some homemade Cajun seasoning. You don't have to use this, but one of the cool things about making your own seasoning is that you control what goes in it. So if you are worried about salt intake or just a lot of extra ingredients in your stuff, because a lot of times seasonings will have sodium dioxide in it, which is just an agent that helps to prevent caking, meaning like it's gonna preserve its texture, I guess. But if you don't want to have that, then you can make your own. And so what I have in here is just have a little bit of smoked paprika. I have some oregano. Let me see if I can do that without spilling on the floor. I have a little bit of salt, onion powder, garlic powder, a little bit of parsley, black pepper as well. Okay. Alright, so my onions and peppers are finally cooking since I turned the correct aisle on instead of the wrong one. And I'm going to add in my my chicken sausage, and then I'll add my shrimp in later. So while that's happening, I'm going to go ahead and season with a little bit of this Cajun seasoning into my shrimp. And since this was frozen shrimp, you could pat it down so that it could get a nice little sear on it. Since it's going in a sauce, I'm not necessarily too worried about that. But that's a tip that you can use for any kind of meat, is to pat it with a paper towel or some kind of cloth, and that's going to help get that excess moisture from the outside off of it. For this dish, it is going to be a little spicy, but if you have kids or somebody who doesn't like spice, instead of using the fire roasted tomatoes, you could just use regular tomatoes. You could also increase the amount of tomato sauce that you use. I'm only going to do about half a can of it, and then I'm going to taste it as I go along. And so let me add in my chicken sausage. And so I pushed my onions and peppers to the outer ring of the pan, and that's going to give a chance for my chicken sausage to come into the middle of the pan. And what that does for most stoves, the highest heat is in the center of your pan, and so what that's going to do is it'll let it cook faster, but then it'll still cook the elements on the outside without you having to take them out of the pan. So if you have something and it's like it's not quite done, but you don't want it to take up the main heat, just put it on the outside rim of the pan, and then it'll kind of serve that purpose. And let's see. I think I'm gonna actually pop you all out. You can see. So we got our onions going, our peppers, our chicken sausage. And then I'm gonna kind of toss my shrimp a little bit. I put a little bit of the Cajun seasoning on here. Let's see. I think I'm gonna try to put y'all above CPT. Alright, there we go. And since this chicken sausage is already cooked, I really don't have to cook it the normal amount of time that you would have to cook chicken sausage. You can just do it about 4 to 5 minutes, because it's also going to cook in our juices from the tomatoes as well. While you all are watching, if there is anybody out there that you think needs something quick for dinner or just needs a little bit of variety of sorts, definitely tag them below. And I'll also put the recipe in the comments as well. Alright, mix this up a little bit. I'm also going to add some more onion powder and garlic powder. If I wanted to at this step, I could add in some oregano as well. So I think I'm going to. And okay. Alright, so y'all might be wondering, why do I have these industrial size containers of seasonings, and where did I get them from? So this one came from the farmer's market. So if you're in the Atlanta area, Moon farmer's markets, they have great prices on seasonings. And my suggestion is, if you know it's something that you're going to use a lot, like oregano, I use a lot of oregano. Smoked paprika, I have one of those as well. White pepper is another one that I use. If it's something you know you're going to use a lot of, it doesn't make sense to get a container like this, because this actually costs you more money. So, for me, like, some of these are from Restaurant Depot, but they have a pretty wide variety at Moon farmers markets or other farmers markets. If you're in DeKalb County, the DeKalb Farmers Market is also a really great option as well. Their seasonings normally come in containers like this, but it's a good way to try them out, because they have smaller sizes too. It's a good way to try something out before you get something this size, but if you wanted this size, they also have that there. So for things like onion powder, garlic powder, I use that pretty much in everything. I definitely have those on hand. So if you do that, you want to make sure you get it for things that you're not just going to be wasting, because in that case, then it doesn't make sense and you're just throwing it away. So, all right, let me see if I can look at what y'all are saying. Okay, in the comments, hey, we have Kelly. Thanks for tuning in, Kelly. Hey, Kim. We're making a Cajun skillet, which is kind of like a spicy shrimp and chicken sausage dish. And so my chicken sausage has been going. I'm going to move my chicken off to the side, and I'm going to add in my shrimp. If you don't like shrimp, or if your family doesn't like shrimp, then obviously you can leave that out. Or you can leave it in there and just make them pick it out. Either option. Of course, if you have a shrimp allergy, you would want to not include that. So shrimp does not take very long to cook at all, especially if your pan is already hot. So definitely be careful not to overcook it. So I'm going to do it for about 2 minutes on this first side. And then instead of flipping it, I'm going to add in my my diced tomatoes and my tomato sauce so that it can start cooking that way. If I wanted to, I could take some of the things out of the pan right now, but I don't want to, so I'm going to leave it in there. Alright, while y'all are tuning in, definitely tag somebody that needs a quick idea for dinner. I'll put the recipe in the comments. If you have any questions, let me know as well. There is a little bit of a delay, but I'll see them as I get to them. Or as they pop up, I'll respond to them. Hey Ashley, thanks for tuning in. We're making a Cajun skillet. So we got roasted chicken sausage and shrimp. I'm going to let that cook for about 2 minutes. I'm going to add some more Cajun seasoning. And one thing about spices is you want to be careful with how much you're adding, because things like salt and things like so like ancho chili powder or just regular chili powder, you can't take that back out. Salt per se, I would say, would be harder to take out. If it's a spice, you can kind of calm it down with a cream, but you want to be careful with that because it can overpower your food. But if it's a seasoning such as like onion powder, garlic powder, you can kind of season until your heart's desire, whatever you want to do. But just be careful about the salty spices or the spicy spices, if that makes sense. So my shrimp it's turning a little bit of a color. It's turning colors, so that lets me know that it's almost done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in my fire roasted tomatoes just directly into the pan. And I'm going to move my camera so y'all can see, actually. Y'all can see the good stuff. Hello, Marshall. Thanks for tuning in. Just talking about you. Okay. There we go. So I got my shrimp under here. I'm only going to do, well, I said I was only going to do half of this, but you see how that ended up. And then I'm adding in about a cup of tomato sauce. If I try this and it's too spicy, then I can definitely add some more tomato sauce in it as well. And because this is a little bit more liquidy than I want, I'm going to turn up my heat to kind of let that boil down some. But I'm going to make sure everything's mixed in pretty well and everything's pretty incorporated. And then I'm going to add in, hopefully y'all can still hear me because you're in my microwave right now. I'm going to add in 2 bay leaves. You could do more, you could do less. I like 2. And I'm just going to nestle these in here and make sure that they are covered. Okay, and then I'm going to add probably about a teaspoon more of my Cajun seasoning. Like I said, since this is a spicy dish, I'm gonna check and make sure that it's not too spicy before I serve it. I don't want Mr. Shep blowing a gasket because it's too spicy. All right, so then I'm gonna let this simmer a little bit. So I'm gonna turn it on low. And I'm gonna put you all back in your place. Oh, Ashley said she can't see anything. I'm sorry. Were you able to, hopefully you guys were able to see that. I'm sorry if you weren't. Can anybody else let me know if they were able to see as well? Here, I'll just hold it. That might be better. So sorry. Okay. So I said I added some more Cajun seasoning, and then I added 2 bay leaves, and I made sure they were covered up so they're down in there simmering. And then I'm gonna go ahead and put a lid on this so that it can simmer on low. If I can find my lid. There we go. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a lid on this. And then I'm probably gonna let it cook for about another 5 to 10 minutes. And then I will serve it over some rice. So, thank you all for tuning in. It's gonna be dinner time in about 5 minutes. I will post the recipe in the comments for you. If there's somebody that you think would enjoy this recipe or would just like to kind of check it out, definitely tag them in the comments below. If you are interested in more recipe ideas or just getting dinner done faster, because this is really only about 15 to 20 minutes, then definitely join my Facebook group, which is Food Fam with Chef Ashley Shep. I'll put that in the comments as well. I might have to wait till I get off the video. It's myself and other foodies who just love to eat, and we love to just share ideas about how to get out of the kitchen faster and get dinner done faster. So thank you all for tuning in. Let me know if you have any questions, and please share this with somebody else that needs to eat dinner in less than 30 minutes. Have a good one.